Hello. Right. So in this video, okay, I'm going to answer this question, which is on man's impact on the environment. Now, man's impact on environment is generally not a very huge topic for PSLE. Yeah, there are not many questions on it, but if it does happen, um, there are some basic concepts that we do need to know. So for example, here, okay, let's take a look at this question first. Sea turtles live in the sea, but they lay their eggs on beaches, right? So we have this diagram here. They tell us the eggs are laid on beaches, the young turtles return to the sea, right? And enter the sea, and the young turtle will grow to adults, which come back to the beaches to lay eggs. So this is the whole life cycle. So the number of sea turtles is decreasing due to global warming. So explain how global warming causes a sea turtle to lose the place for laying eggs. So we need to know what is global warming, right? So what is global warming? So the key concept, the idea here, let me just, okay. So the key idea here about global warming, I'm just going to write down here, global warming. What is actually global warming? Global warming, of course, is caused by this thing called the greenhouse effect. Okay, it's caused by the greenhouse effect. And what is the greenhouse effect? It's basically caused by a lot of carbon dioxide buildup in the in our surrounding air. This is amount of increase in the greenhouse gases, right? And the greenhouse gases, we only need to know is carbon dioxide, increase in the greenhouse gases, right? And why is that greenhouse gases increase? The carbon dioxide, which in terms of CO2, right? Is because of a lot of pollution. We burn a lot of fossil fuel. It's because of burning of fossil fuel, burning, right? Burning, as well as number two, deforestation. Okay, because of these two main culprits, right? The amount of greenhouse gases in the air increases, the carbon dioxide increases, it traps more heat, which leads to the leads to the greenhouse effect. This is actually trap heat in the atmosphere, right? Trap heat in our atmosphere, and therefore greenhouse causing the greenhouse effect, and the earth temperature increases as a result. And what happens when the temperature increases? Well, temperature increase will lead to the ice cap melting. Now, ice cap melting, it actually occurs mostly in the Arctic or Antarctica. But it's not such a concern in the Arctic, because the Arctic is all Arctic ice, then ice on water. But it's the Antarctica where the ice cap is on land, right? It's a whole continent in Antarctica. So when the ice cap melts, the water flow down into the sea, and when it flows down the sea level rises. And when the sea level rises, the low-lying areas will be flooded. The low-lying areas, or even low-lying countries, will be flooded. Okay, will be flooded. Okay, so imagine Singapore, where we are doing a lot to try to increase our land height, you know, so that if the sea level rise, we don't get flooded so easily. Okay, so in the case of this sea turtle, right? In the case of this sea turtle, how does this global warming cause them to lose their place for laying eggs? They're talking about losing the place for laying eggs. Losing across this question, we want to pay attention to the words. Now, when we are given a question, okay, maybe before we start, let's do some highlighting. Okay, let's do some highlighting. Now, sea turtle live in the sea, but they lay eggs on the information here. Eggs are laid on beaches. These are key information. Young turtles return to the sea. Sea turtle decreases because of global turtles turtle to lay eggs. All right, so of course we try to answer in terms of CER, right? In this case, there's no C. They didn't ask for a claim, so we just give our evidence and reason. Okay, so the evidence come from where? Evidence come from the diagram. Okay, the evidence come from the tables and the graphs. Okay, in this case, there's no tables, there's no graphs, table diagrams, and of course the question itself. Right, so in this case, I'll take it from the diagram, which is this one, but it is also actually mentioned in the question. So these two are our evidences, okay, as well as global warming. So how do I know that the sea turtle will lose their place? Because looking at this, I know global warming, right? So global warming, I need to increase my font size. Right, increases the temperature. And on melt. And when ice cap melts, what happens? Yeah, the sea level rises, right? Causing the sea level to rise and flood low-lying areas. Now, in this case, I'm not just going to say flood low-lying areas. I'm going to apply to this question and say flood the beaches. Okay, so this is the global warming, and therefore there will be, so there are less beaches for the turtles to lay eggs. So I have to link it back to the turtles laying eggs, which is, I know from the question that they lay eggs on beaches. So if there's less beaches because they are flooded, so there are less places for them to lay eggs, and they will lay less eggs. Okay, when they lay less eggs, of course, then the population of turtle will decrease. Okay, so let's take a look at the second part B. So scientists also discovered that as temperature of beaches rise, the fewer male than female turtles are hatched, and the temperature becomes too high, only female turtles will be produced. So once again, let me just highlight the key information here. As the temperature increase, fewer males than females are hatched. And if temperature increases too high, only female turtles will be produced. So why would the number of sea turtles decrease due to global warming? So now that I've highlighted all the key information, now we are ready to attempt it. Okay, just increase the font size. Okay, so the evidence here I see, what is the evidence? It's basically our observation, right? Our observation and our inference. So what from the question, the graph, the diagram, in this case, there's no graph, there's no table, there's no diagram, it's only the question. So the only information I see from the question is about global warming. So that would be, I see global warming. I know the temperature will become high. So that is my observation is okay, so when the temperature increases the surrounding air, what can I infer? I can infer, oh, if it becomes too high, so there'll be less turtles, female being hatched, right? So there are less female turtles being hatched. So when there are less female turtles being hatched, how does this lead to the decrease in number of sea turtles, right? So there will be less less mates, right? Not female, sorry. For less male, not less female. So there are less male turtles being hatched. So there are less males to mate with the female turtles, right? So there'll be and therefore they will have less fertilized eggs that will hatch into new turtles. So there are less male turtles to mate with female turtles. Okay, so why would there be less? Because there'll be less fertilization. Now, fertilization is the reason why they reproduce, so there will be less eggs are being fertilized. Right, and therefore hatch into less sea turtles. Okay, so let's check whether my answer is complete. Have I addressed, let me just write down this. Have I addressed the temperature rising? Yeah. Right. Have I addressed why the sea turtle population decreased? Have I addressed the global warming? I think we have addressed most of them. The only thing that I have not addressed is this one. If the temperature become too high, only female turtles will be hatched. This is the only thing that I didn't really address. Right? So if I want to address it, yes, I can, but looking at this is like 1 mark. I may choose not to, but if I really want it to be complete, I should also address not that less female turtles are hatched. I would say there's no not less female, less male turtles are hatched. I should also mention that eventually the temperature can become so high that no male turtles are being hatched. Okay, so if I want to be really complete, so eventually, right, if the temperature increases too much, there are no male turtles being hatched. Okay, so if there are no male turtles being hatched, so there's not even less male turtles, or even no male turtles to mate with female or to right and fertilize the eggs. So less eggs are fertilized, or no less eggs are fertilized, or even no eggs are fertilized. Less eggs, or even no eggs are being fertilized and attached to less sea turtles, or even no turtles. Are hatched. Okay, so the key point here, although I write so many things, right, the key point here is really about fertilization, right? For the population to increase, the eggs must be fertilized, and because there's less males, we fertilize the eggs. All right, you can use the word mate, you can use the word fertilize the eggs. All right, if there's less fertilization, there will be less eggs being hatched. So key point, less eggs or no eggs are fertilized, so there's no sea turtles being hatched. All right, or if you choose to use this one, less eggs are fertilized, then less eggs are hatched into less sea turtles. Okay, so that's all for this question. I hope you've learned something. See you again.